أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء وخاتم المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا بالقاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين واللعنة الدائمة الباقية لأعدائهم من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم: وجعلنا منهم أئمة يهدون بأمرنا لما صبروا وكانوا بآياتنا يوقنون. صلوات عليك. We are getting close to the days which are associated with Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam. And I would like to take this opportunity to talk about the Sirah of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. We have to realize that when we look at the Sirah of the Imams, we cannot isolate one event and say this is the guide for us for all the situations and all the times. And perhaps the wisdom in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted us to go through this era of the presence of the Imam, where the Imam lived among the people. If you look at it, it's almost 2.5 centuries from the wafat of the Prophet to the Ghaibat Kubra. This is where we almost 2.5 centuries. And that time period is actually good enough for us to realize that the Muslim Ummah in general and the Shia minority in particular went through different situations. And this is where you see, sometimes they went through the situation of total separation, separation in a sense of the events of Karbala was considered to be the end of Tashayyu. And then we come to the other eras where there was kind of, relatively speaking, a peaceful time, and all situations and varieties in between. So the community during those 2.5 centuries went through different situations. And this is where we have to realize that there is a diversity in the Sirah of the Ahlul Bayt. The way they conducted themselves, the way they guided the community, in a different situation, your conduct would be different. So there is not one standard and one, method. The purpose has always been the same. Aqidah doesn't change. Only when we talk about socio-political, issues, this is where we have to realize that it is the situations which demand the strategy that you have to adopt. There is no one solution for all problems. No, this is where the beauty of, the Sirah is that you will see diversity in the methods and strategies that Imams used depending on their own situations and, especially looking at the opponent on the other side. Look at the example of the Prophet himself. Let me go through some of the examples. You can very easily divide the Sirah of the Prophet into the Makki era and Madani era. The purpose doesn't change. Rasul was the Rasul in Mecca, he was a Rasul in Medina. The purpose was to convey the Risalat and the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the people, whether it was Mecca or Medina or anywhere else. But looking at the situation in Mecca, the strategy was very different. In Medina, the strategy was different. There is a minority. There, the more issue was about establishing the Aqidah. When it came to the issue of Medina, this is where we see that the Prophet was able to establish, because the majority of the people of Medina had become Muslims. So now there was a power there. And this is where we see the Meccans actually came all the way to Medina, the Battle of Badr, Battle of Uhud. Even if you just look at the locations, these are very close to Medina, far away from Mecca. It was the mushrikeen of Mecca who actually attacked the Muslims and not the other way around. But they realized that the Muslims are now strong, they were able to defend themselves, even though the Prophet proved that if we want, we can hurt you. We can inflict suffering on you. But then, just after a few years, Rasulullah decided to make peace with mushrikeen in Hudaybiyah. And so you see there is the issue of defending and also the issue of sitting down with the mushrikeen and making peace. And this is where everything depends on the circumstances. What the Prophet did was he didn't compromise in Sulh Hudaybiyah. Although, if you look at the wording, sometimes it looks like he compromised. But if you look at the end result, after just 3 years, you come to realize that the majority of Arabian Peninsula had come into the fold of Islam without any war. And that was because of the da'wah and tabligh which became possible only when things became peaceful for Muslims to move around after Sulh Hudaybiyah. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, very interestingly, He doesn't mention any of the battles of the Prophet as fath, which means victory. But when it comes to Sulh Hudaybiyah, He says, فَتَحْنَا لَكُمْ فَتْحًا مُبِينًا. When it comes to the peace treaty, He says, this is the obvious victory for you. And so this is where we have to realize that, you do not need to always have one stance when it comes to dealing with socio-political issues. You will have to look at your own circumstances and then, adapt it the best way as far as the survival of the Shia community is concerned. Look at the example of Amir al-Mu'mineen. As long as Rasulullah was alive, of course, Ali was tabi'. He was the leader and Ali was the follower. Whatever Rasulullah said, he would do it. If he wanted his service in the battlefield, Ali was there always in the front. When he needed the service of Ali in writing the peace treaty in Hudaybiyah, Ali's service was there. Same hand which was, holding the Zulfiqar is one day holding the pen by which the peace agreement was written. And so it's not that only Ali only knew how to, raise the Zulfiqar. No, even he knew how to sit down and make peace with the enemy. And this is where we have to realize, even if his after Rasulullah, 24 to 25 years, the era of 3 Khulafa, it was not easy for Ali. In Al-Balagha he says, I was going through very suffocating situation, he says. This is in Khutbah Shakhshakhiyah. And he says, there was a prick in my eyes, suffocation in the throat. This is how he describes his own situation during the Khilafat of the 3 Khulafa. And so you can say maybe he was, in a way, politically inactive or maybe silent, in a relative sense. But it's not that he didn't know how to, strike with Zulfiqar. The demands of circumstances, prevented him to doing that. But when Muslims finally came to him, almost 24 years exactly to the day after Ghadir. When Muslims did Bayt of Amir al-Mu'mineen during his Khilafat al-Zahira, that was on the day of Ghadir. But 25 years or 24 years after the actual Ghadir event. So they came to him. And when they accepted him as the ruler and the Khalifa, then of course he took on the charge. And then you will see he's leading, his forces in Jamal, in Siffin, and even in Nahrawan against the Khawarij. And so this is where we see the diversity in the strategies, adapted by Amir al-Mu'mineen. So it's not that always you have to take up the sword and just fight and be aggressive all the time. You will have to look at your own situation. You will have to look at the opponent and then take the right, strategy where your deen and mazhab and your community will survive through it. Salawat. You look at the Sirah of Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain alayhim salam. When you see the two brothers, and this is where sometimes even our people, our own Shias have been kind of unjust to Imam Hassan, where we see that Imam Hassan ended in signing truce with Muawiyah. And they say, well, he didn't have that shuja'at. Whereas when they look at the events of Karbala and they say, yes, this is shuja'at. And for us, the model is Hussein, not Hassan. They don't realize they are actually only talking from the level of Josh and not to the level of Hosh. Islam is not a religion which goes by emotions. Mazhab is based on hikmat, on wisdom. Both of the Imams, Hassan and Hussein, it's not that Imam Hussein was more courageous than Hassan, or Imam Hassan was less courageous than Hussein. No. Rasulullah in his famous hadith, which is in our books, where he says, talking about Hassan and Hussein, huma imaman. Both of these brothers are imam. You have to follow them in whatever situation. Qama aw qa'ada. Qama means what? When they stand up. Leading the namaz? No. Qama here, when they stand up to fight against enemy, you have to obey them and go with them. Aw qa'ada. Or is they sit down with the enemy and make peace. In both situations, you have to obey them. And he uses the word for both of them. Qama is a dual tense. Or qa'ada. It doesn't matter is Hassan or Hussein, whatever they do in whatever situation. And as I say, the reality is that there was no difference between Hassan and Hussein. If you change their situation in history, if Hassan was on the day of Ashura in Karbala, he would have done the same thing which Imam Hussain alayhi salam had done. And if Imam Hussain was older, and he had to face the situation after the Shahadat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, he would have signed the truce with Muawiyah. So don't tell me that Imam Hassan was less courageous and Hussein is the model for us, so we should always just follow that one example. No. Yes, Karbala is the highest of our, sacrifice in history. We can never forget it. That is actually the source of inspiration for us, but not at the expense of putting down the status of Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salatu wasalam. Salawat alayhi. In Surah Sajda, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنْهُمْ أَئِمَّةً يَهْدُونَ بِأَمْرِنَا. That among the people we select some of them and make them imams. What is their function? يَهْدُونَ بِأَمْرِنَا. They guide people according to our command. When Imam Hassan says we'll make peace, this is the amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Imam says today we are going to go to Karbala, that is the amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is where he says, وَلَمَّا صَبَرُوا وَكَانُوا بِآيَاتِنَا يُوقِنُونَ. Allah says, I have selected them as imams. Why? Because they have the ability to go through sabr. This is where we lack actually in the issue of sabr. We think only, coming out angrily is the only dalil of haqq. No. There are times where we have to exercise sabr in a way which is the sign of courage. وَكَانُوا بِآيَاتِنَا يُوقِنَانَ. Allah says, I made them imams because they had yaqeen and conviction in our ayat. Salawat. And so we see the difference, diversity, even the Sirah of Rasulullah, the Sirah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and the Sirah of Hassan and Hussein. Let me go further. Even if you look at the Sirah of Hussein ibn Ali, there is a difference. You know, sometimes we think that Imam Hussein became Imam just before Yazid. We don't realize that the first 10 years of the Imamat of Hussein ibn Ali was during the era of Muawiyah, between the Shahadat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Shahadat of Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, and, you know, Yazid coming to power. There's 10 years. Hussein ibn Ali didn't do what he did when Yazid came to power. He maintained sabr. He maintained the same policy that his brother had signed. He basically, you know, he was living by that document which Imam Hassan had signed with Muawiyah. And this is where we have to realize that even Imam Hussein alayhi salam, for 10 years, his approach to Muawiyah was different. It's not that he was silent, no. But he didn't take this step that he took when it came to the issue of Yazid. Why? Was Yazid worse than Muawiyah? You might be surprised that no. The reason why Hussein ibn Ali's strategy for the 10 years of his imamat during the era of Muawiyah was different from that when Yazid comes to power and demands allegiance from Hussein ibn Ali. Muawiyah was the par excellence example of nifaq and hypocrisy. He knew how to deceive people. And when you have somebody who is master of hypocrisy, where he has been able to deceive the people, it's not easy for you to stand up openly and take a very strong stand. Yes, you will be able to always say things about him in order to highlight his zulm and let people know about it, but he was master of hypocrisy. Whereas Yazid was not that clever like his father. And that is the reason. That is where the issues are now very clear. Now people will be able to relate more to the situation more easily. And this is where we come to realize, you look at the situation in America. What is the difference between the present administration and the administrations which came before? Huh? This fellow is actually speaking what is in the hearts of, I would say, majority of the people. The racism against the minorities, not just Muslims, which is there, is coming up now. Before that it was there, but it was in a very diplomatic manner, on a civil manner. The facade was something else. And so this is where you have to realize that Imam Hussein alayhi salam changed the strategy by looking at who is the person on the other side. And so it's nothing to do with the lack of courage on the side of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, or more courage on the side of Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. Salawat pढ़ने के बाद. Let me go further. So I talked about the example of Rasulullah, the example of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the example of Hassan and Hussein. Go further. And I wouldn't be able to continue all the way to the 11th Imam. No. If you look at the days of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salatu wasalam, you have the 5th Imam and his brother, Sayyid bin Ali al-Shahid. 2 brothers for the same father, sons of Imam Zain al-Abidin. Both of them are highly respected in our history. And after Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, among the family of the Ahlul Bayt, Zayd was considered to be the most pious and learned person in the family. Sheikh Mufid actually describes him by saying, وَكَانَ عَابِدًا وَرَعًا فَقِيهًا سَخِيًّا شُجَاعًا. That Zayd bin Ali was a devout worshipper, a pious person, faqihan, a learned person, a jurist. And sakhiyan shuja'an, he was a generous person and very brave. And he is also known to be the first Ravi of Sayf Sajjadiyya. If you look at Sayf Sajjadiyya, and if you look at the Muqaddamah of it, the introduction, from whom did it come to us? It is from Imam Zainul Abidin, but the riwayat is from Zayd al-Shahid. Actually, Imam wrote this book and gave two copies, one to Imam Muhammad al-Baqir and the other one to his son, Zayd. And so he is also very important in our history. And so you have, and so he lived during the time of his brother and the early imamat of his nephew, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam. And this is where we see that, it was during the early years of the imamat of the sixth imam that Zayd bin Ali, started an uprising against the Marwani Khalifa from Banu Umayyah during the era of Hisham bin Abdul Malik. And he actually gathered his followers and supporters in Kufa, did the uprising, armed rebellion against the government of the time. And unfortunately, they were all defeated and they were killed. And this happened in year 120 of the Hijrah. And so this is the early days of the imamat of years of the imamat of our sixth imam. Zayd at that time was 42 years old, and the governor of Umayyad government in Kufa is the one who actually killed him. And when his supporters somehow, buried his body, they were able to find the location. They dug up the grave, took out the body of Zayd al-Shahid. What do you see ISIS do? This mentality of Wahhabism, this is all coming from those days. There's nothing new. And not only that, they actually put his body, crucified it on a cross for 4 years as a warning to the people. Whoever stands up against us, this will what happened to him. And then they took his body and burnt it and basically spread out the ashes in the wind, basically. And this is where we have to realize that, Zayd al-Shahid has gone through that zulm and suffering. But the point of reflection is that Zayd is brother of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir. He is uncle of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. All of them are on the right path, even Zayd. There is question about Muhammad Hanafiya or Mukhtar. Historians have their own views about it, although we don't see there is any problem in Mukhtar either. But when it comes to the issue of Zayd, we have to realize, he never claimed to be an imam. It was later on invention that this whole mazhab known as Zaydi mazhab. We are not talking about the Zaydi descendants of Zayd. That family is different from Zaydi mazhab. People in Yemen, for example. And this is where we have to realize he never claimed to be the imam. But he was abid, wara, faqih, and shuja. And he stood up against the zulm of Banu Umayyah. But the question, the point of reflection for us, is that at the same time you have his brother Imam Muhammad al-Baqir and Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. The question is, why did they not stand up? Think about it. We have one member of Ahlul Bayt standing up, becoming shaheed, losing his life. But the imams of the time, al-Baqir and al-Sadiq, do not get involved actively in that way. It's not that they did not believe in the sincerity and the cause of Zayd bin Ali. No, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam actually believed in him. But this is where we have to realize you can have same circumstances, same situation, same time, same society, but you can have two individuals having different responsibilities. The responsibility on Imam Muhammad al-Baqir and Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq was that this is the moment to seize and educate the community as much as they can with the ulum of Ali Muhammad. The entire mazhab of Ahlul Bayt, the fiqh, the aqidah, everything you see, the majority of the sources which have come are of that era from Imam Muhammad al-Baqir and Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. So basically they were all working for the same cause. Sayyid decided to do jihad bis-sayf, whereas Imam Muhammad al-Baqir and Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq decided to do jihad bil-ilm. You cannot say they were, not fulfilling the purpose. And I guarantee you, if there were some people who lived during our time, if they were there, they would have abandoned Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq and they have accepted Sayyid as the Imam. Because they will say, oh, he was not that, active socio-politically. No. This is where we have to realize, same situation, same era, same opponent, same circumstances, but there are two individuals from the Ahlul Bayt's family who are playing different roles. Not that they are against one another, they do not contradict one another, because even individuals in the same era can have different responsibilities. And this is where we have to think about it, that there is no, solution which is single solution for all the times and all the places in the world. Salawat padne paro. It's not that Sayyid al-Shaheed didn't believe in the imamate of his nephew, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. They are his ash'ar and his poetry in the praise of his brother al-Baqir and his nephew al-Sadiq. I'll just quote to you one statement from him, quoted by Sheikh Saduq, where Sayyid al-Shaheed says, في كل زمان رجل منا أهل البيت, that in every era there will be a person from the Ahlul Bayt, from us, يحتج الله به على خلقه, who will become the argument and hujjat of Allah over the people. Means the Imam of the time, the hujjat of the time. Hujjatu zamanina, and who is the hujjat of our time? He says, Ibn Akhi, son of my brother, my nephew, Ja'far bin Muhammad. لا يظل من يتبعه, a person who follows him will never go astray. ولا يهتدي من خالفه, and whoever opposes Ja'far al-Sadiq will never be rightly guided. This is his aqidah as far as Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq's imamat and hujjiyat is concerned. Salawat padne ek baar. And so remember, we have to keep, different environment, different situations. You have to look that keep that in your mind when you are dealing with it. Because one situation might be good. One solution might be good for one society, but not necessarily for the second one or for the third one. Every environment has its own situation and every environment has its own challenges, and you cannot just use, one dawa for all marad. When the challenges are different, these strategies also have to be different. Salawat padne ek baar. I just remember an ayat I would like to share with you, and this is from the same time era, the days of Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salatu wassalam. Imam Zainul Abidin was known as Zainul Abidin, Sayyid al-Sajjad. the beauty of those who worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the leader among those who do the sajda in the true sense to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there were some people those days, they used to criticize him for that. For example, one of the things for which he is known is that he actually had gone for Hajj many, many times. 20 times he went actually by walking from Medina to Mecca. Not because he didn't have money or he didn't have camels or horses with him. No. This was his expression of humility to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ways of war go from Najaf to Karbala, for example, not because they don't have money. It is their way of expressing their devotion to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And so this is only 20 times that he went for a Hajj on foot, besides the other times when he went on camel. And there was a reason why Imam Zainul Abidin emphasized this issue of Hajj. There are so many ahadith about it. One of the problems with our people is even those who study religion or hadith don't look at the context. Why did the fourth Imam emphasize the issue of Hajj and going to Mecca more than the Imams before and after? If you put all those ahadiths together, there was a reason there. It was, if I'm not forgetting the name, Hisham bin Abdul Malik. There was a time after Karbala where Zubayr had the control of Mecca. And because they were in control of Mecca and gradually taking over even Iraq, they are the one who were responsible for attacking Mukhtar and his forces and killing Mukhtar actually. So Zubayr is another problem for the Shias. But there was a time where they became the original ruler in that area, including Mecca. And the Khalifa in Damascus didn't like that his people should go to Mecca because it was under control of Zubayr. It is during that time that he started giving importance to Quds. It is during that time that Masjid al-Aqsa was actually, was built. The prominence was given not for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he started encouraging people and even asking this Darbari ulama to come up with a hadith of saying, there is more sawab to go to Jerusalem. This is all politics. Against that political stance of the Umayyad government, what does Imam Zainul Abidin do? He says, I'll go to Hajj every year. Not only I will go for a Hajj every year, I will even encourage people to go for Hajj. And I'll even go, by walking, just to show the importance of Hajj. So these ahadith actually you need to put them in the socio political context, historical context to understand the importance of that. And so in one of those, trips of Hajj, there was somebody, if I may, use this term, quote unquote, revolutionary, very inqilabi person. He came to the Imam, he says, you have forgotten jihad and you have abandoned jihad and you are going into ibadat and rituals. And he recited this ayat from Surah Tawbah, ayat number 111, إِنَّ اللَّهَ اشْتَرَى مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَنفُسَهُم وَأَمْوَالُهُم بِأَنَّ لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةَ يُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ فَيَقْتُلُونَ وَيُقْتَلُونَ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala buys from the mu'mineen their lives and their property in return of Jannah. What do? يُقْتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. They do the qital. They fight in the way of Allah. They kill or they are killed. وَعْدًا عَلَيْهِ حَقًّا فِي التَّوْرَاةِ وَالْإِنْجِيلِ وَالْقُرْآنِ. And this is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Torah and Injil and Quran. And so now this person, look at the audacity. Jurat dekhen. He is using this ayat to taunt Imam Zainul Abidin. And Imam said, well, you read this ayat but you didn't read the ayat after that. Those people who do qital, who actually either kill for the sake of Allah or are killed in the way of Allah, their description is there. In the next ayat, التائبون العابدون الحامدون السائحون الركعون الساجدون الآمرون بالمعروف والناحون عن المنكر والحافظون لحدود الله وبشر المؤمنين. You need the quality, you need the people with you to do that jihad who have this, element of tawbah, the element of ibadat. They praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They do the ruku for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They do amr bil ma'ruf and nahy al munkar, and they maintain the hudud and the limits that Allah has put on them. And these are the people that you should give good news because they are the mu'mineen. So Imam said, find for me such people and then come back to me. And so this was a slap on this fellow. And he went away. And so this is where we have to realize that, when you look at the Sirah of the Ahlul Bayt, from the first Imam to the 11th Imam, you have to realize that whatever strategy that they adapted depend on the circumstances. There is no one solution for the whole world. You have to look at different situations, and based on the hikmah and the Sirah of Ahlul Bayt, you have to fulfill your duty. Salawat padhne ek baar aur. چھٹے امام کے وفات کی تاریخ قریب آ رہی تھی، تو ہم نے ان جنرل سیرت اہل بیت کے سلسلے میں کچھ باتیں آپ کے سامنے پیش کرنا چاہ رہے تھے ہم، کہ ائمہ کی سیرت کو ذرا نظروں کو کھول کر، آنکھ کو کھولنے کی بات نہیں ہے، دماغ و دل کو کھول کے پڑھنے کی بات ہوتی ہے، کہ سمجھیں مختلف حالات میں مختلف اسٹریٹجی اپنائی جاتی ہے۔ بلکہ ایک ہی دور میں آپ دیکھیں گے کہ اہل بیت کے گھرانے کے افراد جو ہے الگ الگ طریقوں کو اپناتے ہیں، مقصد سب کا ایک ہوتا ہے، لیکن جو اسٹریٹجی ہے، راہ عمل جو ہے وہ مختلف ہوتے ہیں۔ نہ وہ غلط ہے یا نہ یہ غلط ہے۔ ورنہ آپ امام جعفر صادق علیہ السلام کے دور میں اگر آپ دیکھیں، زید شہید کے بارے میں جو تاثرات امام جعفر صادق کے تھے، وہ جب خبر ملی ہے انہیں کہ جناب زید کو شہید کیا گیا ہے، تو امام جعفر صادق بہت ہی متاثر ہوئے اور تقریباً عزا کے کیفیت میں پڑ گئے۔ یعنی تاریخ میں یہ ملتا ہے وَلَمَّا قُتِلَ بَلَغَ ذَلِكَ مِنْ عَبِي عبد اللہ علیہ السلام، تو وہاں پر وَحَضُنَ لَهُ حُزْنًا عَظِيمًا حَتَّى بَانَ عَلَيْهِ، یعنی احساس سے غم اور حزن اتنا تھا کہ آپ ظاہری طور پر ان کے چہرے سے ان آثار کو آپ غم کے دیکھ سکتے تھے۔ وَفَرَّقَ مِن مَالِهِ عَلَى عَيَالِ مَنْ أُصِيبَ مَعَهُ مِنْ أَصْحَابِهِ أَلْفَ دِینار۔ نہ صرف یہ، بلکہ امام نے اپنے مال سے جناب زید کے ساتھ جو شہید ہوئے تھے، ان کے جو بیوہ اور یتیم بچے تھے، ان ہر فیملی کے لیے 1000 دینار بھیجے۔ اسی سے اندازہ ہوتا ہے کہ وہ زید کے عمل کی تصدیق کرتے ہیں کہ ہمارے چچا زید نے جو کیا ہے وہ صحیح کام تھا، اگرچہ وہ خود اس میں ظاہری طور پہ نہیں تھے۔ اور اسی سے اگر آپ دیکھیں تو جو اسٹریٹجی ہے وہ نظر آتی ہے۔ کبھی کبھی ہم لوگ پوچھتے ہیں کہ بھائی جناب عبداللہ بن جعفر کیوں نہیں گئے تھے امام حسین علیہ السلام کے ساتھ، یا محمد حنفیہ مدینہ میں کیوں رہے تھے؟ ہمیں تفصیلات کا علم نہیں ہے، خصوصاً محمد حنفیہ کی جہاں تک بات ہے، خود امام نے خط میں کہا ہے کہ تم یہیں رہو تاکہ تمہارے ذریعے جو ہے ہمیں مدینہ کے حالات کی خبر ملتی رہے گی۔ تو انسان کو اس بات کو ہمیشہ ذہن میں رکھنا چاہیے کہ ہمارے کچھ اصول ہیں، اعتقادات میں کوئی تبدیلی نہیں آتی ہے، لیکن جہاں تک اسٹریٹجی کی بات ہے، ہمارا طور و طریقہ جو ہے مختلف حالات میں حالات کو دیکھ کے ہمیں عمل کرنا ہوگا۔ لکھنؤ میں ہیں یا کراچی میں ہیں یا لاہور میں ہیں یا بمبئی میں ہیں یا آپ تہران میں ہیں یا بیروت میں ہیں، حالات الگ الگ ہوتے ہیں۔ وہ لکھنؤ والی سچویشن جو ہے یا کراچی والی سچویشن مثلا ٹورنٹو میں نہیں ہوگی، ٹورنٹو کی سچویشن جو ہے مثلا ملیشیا میں نہیں ہوگی۔ آپ قطیف کے حالات کو دیکھیں، وہاں کچھ اور ہیں۔ لوگ اپنے حالات کے لحاظ سے اپنے ذمہ داریوں کو انہیں سمجھنا چاہیے۔ ایز لانگ ایز وہ اوور آل اپنے مذہب اور قوم کی بقا کے لیے کام کر رہے ہیں تو اسٹریٹجیز بدلتی رہے گی، مقصد سب کا ایک رہے گا، اور سب جو ہیں اپنے امکانات کے لحاظ سے اور اپنے حالات کے لحاظ سے اس پر عمل کریں گے۔ جمل کے واقعے میں ایک حدیث کو بیان کر کے ہم مجلس ختم کرنا چاہیں گے۔ جمل کے واقعے میں امام کے ایک صحابی تھے، جب فتح ہوئی آخر میں تو وہ کہتا ہے کہ امیر المومنین سے کہ مولا میرا ایک بھائی ہے جو آپ کا معتقد ہے، بہت ہی محبت کرتا ہے، کاش وہ آج ہوتا اور آپ کی یہ کامیابی اور وکٹری کو دیکھتا، بہت خوش ہوتا۔ تو امام نے کہا کہ وہ صحیح معنی میں میرے ساتھ ہے؟ تو اس نے کہا ہاں، ہم جانتے ہیں اس کا عقیدہ بالکل صحیح ہے۔ امام نے کہا سمجھ لو کہ وہ ہمارے ساتھ ہے۔ کبھی کبھی فزیکلی ہم لوگ ساتھ نہیں ہو سکتے ہیں، لیکن دل و دماغ کے لحاظ سے ہم آہنگ نہیں ہونی چاہیے۔ اور اسی لیے جو کہا جاتا ہے امام حسین علیہ السلام کے بارے میں کہ جو راضی ہے ان کے قتل پر، ان پہ بھی ہم لعنت کرتے ہیں۔ کیوں؟ صدیوں کے بعد آئے ہیں۔ وہ مفتی مثلا جو ہے سعودی عرب میں بیٹھا ہے، 20th سینچری میں اعلان کرتا ہے کہ یزید جو ہے خلیفہ برحق تھا اور حسین نے جو کیا وہ شریعت کے خلاف تھا۔ صدیوں کے بعد آیا ہے، کربلا میں نہیں تھا، لیکن اس کا شمار یزیدیوں میں ہوگا، اس لیے کہ ہے دل و دماغ کے ساتھ یہ ان لوگوں کے ساتھ ہے۔ ہم صدیوں کے بعد آئے ہیں، لیکن واقعات کربلا کو ہم زندہ رکھتے ہیں، یاد کرتے ہیں، اس کے مقصد کو سمجھنے کی کوشش کرتے ہیں، اپنے حالات کے لحاظ سے اس مقصد کو زندہ رکھنے کی کوشش کرتے ہیں۔ تو ہم صدیوں کے بعد آئے ہیں، لیکن ہم حسین کے ساتھ ہیں۔ طریقہ صرف ہمارا نہیں ہو سکتا ہے، آپ کا بھی ہو سکتا ہے، سب کے الگ طریقے ہو سکتے ہیں، حالات کے لحاظ سے لوگ عمل کرتے ہیں۔ یہ نہیں کہ ہمارے پاس مونوپولی ہے کہ بھائی صرف ہم ہی ہیں حسین کے ساتھ اور آپ کو وہی کرنا ہوگا جو ہم کر رہے ہیں، ورنہ آپ حسین سے دور ہیں۔ نہیں، یہ جو کچھ خیالات لوگوں کے ذہن میں آتے ہیں، ایسی بات نہیں ہے۔ حسین صرف آپ کے نہیں ہیں بھائی، امام سب کے ہیں، حسین سب کے ہیں۔ اور اسی لیے ہم جب حالات کو دیکھتے ہیں، امام حسین علیہ السلام نے عاشور کے دن جو پیغام دیا ہے ایک عالمی پیغام تھا، ایک انسانی لیول پہ گفتگو کی تھی۔ اور اسی جملے پہ ہم ختم کرنا چاہیں گے کہ جو آخری حملہ امام حسین علیہ السلام نے کیا ہے، اور جہاں یزیدی لشکر جو ہے امام کو شکست نہیں دے سکا، تو عمر بن سعد جو ہے حکم کرتا ہے اپنے 4000 تیر انداز دستہ جو تھا، انہیں حکم ہوتا ہے کہ حسین کو چاروں طرف سے گھیر لو۔ آپ سوچ لیں اس منظر کو کہ 4000 افراد تیر و کمان لے کے جمع ہوتے ہیں۔ ان کا ٹارگٹ کون ہے؟ نشانہ ایک ہے، ابا عبداللہ فاطمہ کا فرزند۔ تیروں کی بارش میں ہے، حسین ابن علی گھوڑے پہ بیٹھے ہیں، نظر جاتی ہے کہ کچھ یزیدی لشکر کے سپاہ آہستہ آہستہ اہل حرم کے خیموں کی طرف جا رہے ہیں۔ اس وقت امام حسین علیہ السلام نے شمر اور عمر بن سعد کی طرف دیکھ کے ایک جملہ کہا ہے جو ہمیشہ کے لیے زندہ ہے۔ اس کا تعلق صرف شیعوں سے نہیں ہے، صرف مسلمانوں سے نہیں ہے، بلکہ تمام انسانی برادری سے ہے۔ فرماتے ہیں کہ یا شیعۃ آل ابی سفیان، کہ اے آل ابی سفیان کے ماننے والے، ان لم یکن لکم دین ولا تخافون المعاد، اگر تمہارا کوئی دین نہیں ہے، تمہیں اگر قیامت کا خوف نہیں ہے، فکونوا احرارا لدنیاکم، کم سے کم اپنے اس دنیاوی غیرت کا ثبوت دو، جب تک حسین زندہ ہے آ کے مجھ سے لڑو، میرے اہل حرم کی طرف مت جا۔ شمر ملعون جیسا منحوس شخص بھی شرم کی وجہ سے سر جھکا دیتا ہے اور حسین سے کہتا ہے یہ وعدہ ہے جب تک تم زندہ ہو ہم نہیں کچھ نہیں کریں گے۔ لیکن حسین کو اپنے اس کی آخری تیروں کی بارش میں فکر اہل حرم کی تھی۔ مجھے نہیں معلوم ہے کہ وہ لاش کس طرح سے تڑپی ہوگی کہ جب خیموں پر حملہ کیا گیا ہے، جب بیویوں کے چادر کو لوٹا گیا ہے، جب سکینہ کی بالیوں کو لوٹا گیا ہے، جب خیموں کو آگ لگا دی گئی ہے، کس طرح سے مولا کا لاشا زمین کربلا پر تڑپ رہا ہوگا۔ الا لعنۃ اللہ علی القوم الظالمین سیعلم الذین ظلموا ای منقلب ینقلبون۔ خداوند اس کے بعد قبول فرما، ہمارے گناہوں کو بخش دے، ہمارے توفیقات میں اضافہ فرما، امام کے ظہور میں تعجیل فرما۔ ربنا تقبل منا انک انت السمیع العلیم۔